All right. As we're waiting, I would love to find out from those that are here on the call a bit about what your goals would be for ending off this year and then a goal for next year. It could be revenue wise, or if there's something else that you have as a goal. Hold on, who do I see first? And I'll start with you. What would be your goal that because the topic for today is goals and key activities, but just to preface, what goal do you have for the business?
So for myself, definitely, as I said yesterday, Ryan, um, a good personal assistant is one for the new year coming
Mhm.
up. Um, Number two, um, more volunteers for the food bank. I'm creating actually
Mhm.
um, on Facebook a which I already created a network for volunteers so that when any of us have any type of events around the city, we have our own pool to pull from.
Oh, nice,
What
nice.
Yeah, whether it's like, you know, hours for school for youth, retired persons, people in between jobs, whatever that is, I want to create a
Mhm.
platform of all these individual persons and newcomers looking for Canadian experience, right? For their resume. So that was the newest project that I started for this year, hoping by the end of the year to meet my target, Ryan, like maybe 200 people in there with informations, DMing and so forth. Yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
No, and even who do I see next? Shelly, did you want to share a bit of the goals that you have for the rest of this year and maybe the goal for 2026?
Blessings all. Okay, so first thing I would say is between trying to fulfill certain things that I've partly looked into, started, um, I feel like I don't want to be the serial beginner and not really grow and fulfill something. And I am hoping that the Lord is going to maximize this time because I really feel stretched. I work at Stellantis. If you've seen in the news, it looks like the plant's closing. It wasn't that long ago. They were like, you have till mid October to say if you want to go to Windsor. No one wants to go to
Gotcha.
Windsor. So it's just been that
Right.
sense of I'm trying to pay bills, money's not there. By the end of the year, the subsidy I get from the plant is going to be over. There's been no update. I mean, it's been 2 years we've been off. It's a weird situation to be in,
Wow.
and so I'm trying to
Yep.
make the purpose I have that I see in my life come forth. And so I'm so thankful for this program. I apologize for time that's been missed, but I feel like I'm on the right track and I'm the little bits I'm able to make use of, I can see a bigger picture coming through. So I'm like, that's a blessing. The one thing I do want to say is, Anne, God bless you. God bless you for the work that you do. I was just talking to somebody at our church on Saturday, and we were talking about we should have a pool where like there are a bunch of different teams and they have volunteers, but I might want to help, a program going on that I might not actually be tied to. But if they have an area where events could just be posted, people who are interested could help out, that would be ideal. And I thought to myself yesterday, so I'm telling you, like, I thought about this, went to bed, sleep, waking up to it. The idea of if we did it between churches. So I'm hearing you say that you're doing this on like a community level. And I'm like, wow, like that is a real blessing. All the contacts and ways that you're able to help, whether it's with food and other needs, and then newcomers to the country, that is such a blessing. And I'm here thinking like there's that connection that I think more than ever, like if everybody wants to say, I believe this or I believe that, we need to kind of come together on certain things to make things go further.
100%. Absolutely. I appreciate you sharing that. And definitely put your info in the chat and as well to make sure that you connect. I know we're gonna try and work on a WhatsApp group, so we'll figure that out. But just before I hand it to Chris Beth, who I did see join in, CK, did you want to share some of the goals you might have going into the end of the year? And then let's see, I'll come back.
Sure. Hi, everyone. Yeah, for me, it's more of a relaunch that I was looking to do for my business. So I'm hoping that 2026 I'll be able to start increasing my inventory, like doing new card designs. I've had customers asking me for some updated designs, which I could understand if they keep buying the boxes, they don't want the same designs. So that's something I have to look into. But like the tariffs was a big deterrent for me, but just try to try to find artists, I guess. And then also because for me, because it's really seasonal, Christmas is where we do the best. I would have to look for next August to start ordering my cards for Christmas. So that's what I'm thinking about right now. Thank you.
Alexia, how about yourself? Have you mapped out any goals for the end of this year or going into what 2026 will look like?
Yes, absolutely. Hi, everyone. So as a reminder, I'm a financial literacy educator. I sell financial literacy experiences, whether it's a speaking engagement, lunch and learn, team buildings. And by the end of the year, my objective is to have all of my, finally, my all-in-one platform all set up with my CRM. I want to have a system where people, they buy online directly, and if they don't fill the form directly, there is a funnels and reminders and all that. I would also love to launch a newsletter by the end of the year. And for 2026, I want 3 things. So I would love to host a financial literacy festival that's going to be free, where people will come and enjoy fun financial literacy, as well as accessible financial literacy with interpreters for deaf people. Another thing that I want, it's revenue-wise, because I know which kind of annual revenue I want for my business. And I'm having a bunch of new costs then by the end of the year, the software, the social media management freelance and all that. So I want to reverse engineer and calculate all of those costs and then reduce to the, the annual revenue I want, so that I can plan for how much products I need to sell for 2026 and then readjust my pricing, right?
Valid. And I think, did I miss anyone? Was there a Chris or Adul? Did you want to share before I hand it to Chris Beth?
Thank you very much. And more important, Bo, thank you very much for putting on this program for the last few days or 2 weeks or so. Unfortunately, I hasn't been able to attend most of them.
It's 20 days, man, 19 days.
You see? Sorry, my
you
apologies.
joining.
3 weeks. Let me make it
and we
3
have
weeks.
a playlist so you can catch up later.
Oh, good. That's what I was going to ask
Yes.
later on. Anyway, my goals for the year is currently I'm in the financial services in the industry and I've been stagnant. So my goal for this year is try and get some momentum, because I think if I end the year with momentum, it should be able to carry me on into 2026 very well. And then also, because I'm kind of still doing it part-time, I want to get into it full-time in the new year. That's my goal. And then move it on from there. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I appreciate you joining in. Again, you can jump in at any moment because we're definitely documenting it. And this is really, we put it together so that it can be something that you can reference at any time to just fine tune it. And also when you meet other entrepreneurs, you can say like, hey, here's a 24-day, 24-hour roadmap that you can follow so that we know we've covered everything with our business. But with that, I'll pass it over to Chris Beth Cowie, who's been our wonderful facilitator. I know internet might have been tricky, but we'll see how long we last. But Chris Beth, over to you.
Hey, welcome everyone. Anne, I see your hand raised.
Hi, how are you? I had 2 things to finish up. Yes, the last sister that was talking about the volunteer church to church kind of thing, because Chris was saying, I don't know if you were listening, We were just talking about finishing off year end, and I was saying to the sisters, church to church volunteer thing, that I'm creating a volunteer pool. So this is what we're missing actually, just from our whole pool of people out there. That when we're doing events, having events to do, we have to kind of try to start something where we can pull from our own resources. That was one thing that I started this year on Facebook with my multi platforms, the Woke Link volunteer platform, where people can come in if they need volunteer hours. That would be school, retirees, in between jobs, and just people that are at home, because it's every single Friday. Second Harvest is our provider. Just anybody that wants to volunteer, or knows people that want to volunteer, and everybody gets food to go home with, that kind of thing. And the final one was definitely pushing my natural line of pain and care products for the new year. Yeah, finishing up that part. Thank you.
Really awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. And I was listening into, I don't know if I heard everybody's, but the goals that you all have shared, definitely important. It sounds great, right? Today I wanted to just say, like, we need goals, right? We need that North Star that would help guide us or shape the way that we are seeing and doing business as we're progressing. The question is, how do we know we've achieved when we get to the next point, right? And what we have achieved. And so part of goal setting, and I think someone briefly mentioned it, the targets, like the metrics. You want to be able to say, I have a financial target I'm working towards. I meet a lot of entrepreneurs who don't have financial targets that they want to work towards in terms of achieving and moving their business forward. And it's like, yeah, I just want to start a business. And so that's a good thing. Let's keep adding to it, right? So I'm hoping to zip through a couple of slides today with everyone, just some of the things around goal setting, and then more importantly, just the, mindset. And we're going to talk about a couple of things as well. So I have a quick, 1 second. Yes, I think my internet should be pretty good in this moment. So we will share. Richie, I think I had sent it to you. In the event that I cut out or anything like that, you should be able to have the link to just pull it up for me if I need that help.
Okay.
Are you seeing my screen? Am I sharing? Maybe not.
No.
1 second. Yes, I would have to push share. Oh, I don't have abilities to share team.
I give.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So I am sharing. And as I was preparing for today, I was like, how fitting it is that I'm using Helen Keller's quote today, after I had the opportunity of going to visit the Alexander Graham Bell Museum here in Cape Breton. If you did not know, Alexander Graham Bell is considered the founder of the phone as we know it today. I mean, not the smartphones, but in order for us to get to the smartphone technology, he is considered the founder, inventor of the phone. And one of the things that I learned today on this journey is that he had a passion to help deaf people use sign language to be able to regain their hearing, all of these things. And on his journey, if you don't know, Helen Keller was born deaf, not able to speak, and had other developmental challenges. And when I saw, I was like, Helen Keller, whoa. So her father heard about Alexander Graham's Bell work to help the deaf people, and they were connected from that time onward. And so if you think about the life of Helen Keller, and she had a lot of setbacks, a lot of challenges, all of the things probably was not going in her favor. And yet, despite all of the struggles and the pains of her life, she can say these words: life is either a daring adventure or nothing. So the question, what is life for you, right? We have the ability to choose how we view our perspective on our life, our goals, our business. Yes, there are days, the saying goes, when it rain, it pause, right? And those things happen. It's real. But in spite of that, when it rains, it pours. Yes, and I'm gonna find that umbrella. I'm gonna find some sort of shade, some sort of protection, but I'm gonna keep moving forward. And it is not easy, but I think if your mind's made up about where you want to go, nothing can stop in your way, right? So I wanted to just start with that. In addition to, yeah, being here in Cape Breton, if you've never been to Cape Breton, Nova Scotia, it is, at this time of year, it's beautiful, all the leaves and all of this stuff. But what I'm seeing a lot as well, there's a lot of indigenous, I guess sites, signs, just talking about like using native language. The books that I had a chance to see, a lot of it is in the forefront of the culture in this part of Canada. And I think it was a reminder that, the native people are not some distant, experience. They are very much alive and well and want good for our communities, and they're contributing and continue to contribute. So we definitely are grateful for their contributions of the past and present as well. And so a little bit about myself, if you don't know, I do see myself as a serial social entrepreneur, and I did hear someone share about, not spreading ourselves too thin. I'm guilty, but I'm in the process of refining, right? And I think it is important, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. I think at some point, saying no is okay. Right? Hey, I'm not on that mission today. I'm going to focus. I want to go deep before I go wide. And I mean, just that mindset around goal setting is really important. So a quote that I found that truly impacted my life when I was starting out as a very young entrepreneur, it was Zig Ziglar's quote. It says, "You are designed for accomplishment, engineered for success, and endowed with the seeds of greatness." And I think when we have goals, or when we have targets, when we have that, I don't know, I sometimes that burning, that fire, I know I can't stop because I know I have something to bring to the world. And walking through Alexander Graham Bell's museum today, like, and as an inventor, the phone, then he went to the boat, the plane, all of the different technologies that I didn't even know he contributed to then, and we're still using it today, right? Which is like legacy. My mind went in that way. But I think it comes down to, what do you believe about yourself, right? And what do you think is possible? Everybody, if you look at, as you may know, I like plants, and I may use that tree analogy, but we have that seed living inside of us to manifest into something great. And I truly believe this for me. And I believe this for every person that I meet, in particular with entrepreneurs. We know that this creative spirit is just wanting to come out, right? And so just, I think, holding on to this mindset of, you can accomplish what you set your mind to, right? In that way. And so I came up with a formula. So I do some goal setting, training, and planning in that way. So you're gonna get a very crash course, condensed version of what I talk about. But the formula is the My Value formula. I'll share a little bit about it. My philosophy is I want to show up better every day so I can serve greater in every way. And I've been saying that for a number of years now, and it is truly how I structure a lot of things. I want to make sure that I'm well so that my impact could just not be for today, but definitely have that ripple effect, being able to leverage what I'm doing. So the My Value formula is kind of grounded in these basic known principles, but so powerful that if we go through the process in full, we're able to take a deeper, more diligent dive into who we are as people and where we want to go with our lives and our vision, right? So the My Value formula, the first one is, what is the reality? Sometimes we are not honest with where we are today. From a biblical perspective, I was just sharing with my parents earlier today. One of the prophets went to a woman. She said, people are coming after my son. I'm about to lose everything that I have. And the prophet says, what do you have? Right? And then she says, I have some oil and I have a little bit of flour. Right? So the question to all of us, what is in our hand? What do we have? You know, we need to be honest with, this is my current reality, understanding it may not be a place that you want to stay, but you're saying, I have this skill set, I invested in my education, I have these desires, and I want to do something with it, right? And so being able to assess your current assets, your current well-being, to then say, hey, you know, the truth is I need help. Sometimes many people go through life never asking for help because they care more about what people might think. If they see themselves, I don't have this, but the truth is the help is out there, right? So understanding your reality, the why, understanding what is driving, you know, the fire for the things that you do, your vision, understanding where you want to go. And there is not, I oftentimes like to say, when you're thinking about your vision, success does not look the same for everybody, right? We're driving through some of these streets here and we met someone and he's like, that's my house and I'm happy here, right? The winter is coming. Everybody, like, no tourists. This is like the last week where they have a lot of tourists or tourists come here. Everything's closing, closing, closing. He's like, I'm okay with that, right? That's his vision of success, right? What he wants to accomplish. He's like, I'm not moving. It was kind of a funny conversation. But for somebody with that, hey, I want to have the mansion or whatever that looks like as an option, like that has its place as well, right? So just being mindful of those things. And then we have here, act smarter. Whatever you decide to do, don't do the same things expecting different results. It is not wisdom. It is not wise. Lessons you can learn from the past mistakes of other people, hence the reason to read books and all of these things to learn about what they did well, what they didn't do well, and it helps to close the gap for you as well, right? The saying is success leaves clues, and oftentimes, I mean, based on some of the readings that I've done of different autobiographies and books written, they leave it in the books as well. Unique marketability. And so this is tied to the marketing element. But the objective is, if you have something good and valuable, you don't want to hide it, right? It's not about keeping it to yourself. It's about finding a way to share the wealth, the knowledge, the insights, the value that you're creating with others. And understand this with the last point here. Everything comes at a cost. My dad said to me, Chris, but there's nothing free, right? The only thing that we get free is maybe, the air that we breathe, and that also came at a cost and a price. But I feel as though if we're thinking about the things we want to accomplish, we either have to give up some money, give up some time, but we have to be fully entrenched and present in order to really yield the profits in that way. So when we think about your personal priorities, these are my 9 personal priorities that I talk people through and guide them through, talking about how do we show up better. And showing up better requires us to be spiritually well, whatever you believe. I believe in God, and I believe that there is a greater source. And so a spiritual aspect of our well-being is very important. Mentally, we have to be, mentally sound and being able to invest continually in our mental well-being. Physically, folks, I don't know about you, but if you have not been eating well, sleeping well, getting some sweat in your body, and yes, we need to sweat, stress builds up, right? And so we want to make sure physically that we are in check in that way. Emotionally, right? We want to be emotionally happy people. I think I will go with more positive people, right? Happy is so subjective sometimes, but I think when we have a positive outlook, it doesn't mean that every time it needs to be that way, but to be able to say, where can I find that silver lining, right? I'm not easily irritable, all of these things. And you don't see doomsday in every scenario that's before you. There's another way. I would just say that. And my 5th one is my word on the Show Up Better. It is fun and epic combined for great or small, memorable events that are impactful and memorable. And so funepical is the word there. How do you have fun? Sometimes you have fun by yourself. Sometimes you have fun with other people. I think sometimes as we mature, we forget to play. We forget to have fun. And so those 5 sections for me, it falls under the Show Up Better. I know when I am well, I can definitely do more, right? And so my invitation for all of us is just to do a personal pulse check on these areas of your life, to really understand that running on E, right, trying to stretch yourself thin over time, it is not sustainable, right? It's not a wise way to live. We could do it. It's not that we can't do it, but the question is, should we do it? Right? And there are seasons, right? Sometimes you pour a little bit more than others, but is that how you want to be living your life, right? If you were to manage yourself a little bit better, could you extend your life a little bit longer versus trying to get burnt out and all of the stuff that comes with that sooner, right? And I will share, in the pandemic, I was doing like 80-hour days. I was working full time and also running my business. And I couldn't even raise my hand over my head. I wasn't moving. I wasn't eating as I should. All of this stuff, the stress was building up. I didn't even know. And a friend said to me, Chrisbeth, I was supposed to take 2 weeks off of my work at the time. So let's imagine it's today, and I'm supposed to get 2 weeks off vacation, 2 weeks away. And she said, Chrisbeth, what if you don't make it to 2 weeks? And that same day, I called my boss and I said, listen, I need to take time. Also, in that time, it hit me that I need to make a decision for my life. I can't try to they say burn the candle at both ends. I had to make a decision about either being full-time in my business or being full-time, like keep going the way that I was going, right? And so in that 2 weeks, it also gave me a time not to just get better, but also to really get yeah, just reprogram and rediscover my goals and my values, all of this stuff, right? And then the last part, the 4 sections that you see here, it's relational. So how are you relating to people? And this is why I say you cannot pour from an empty cup for very long. So once I am well, I can then start thinking about whether it's your spouses, your children, your coworkers, your teammates, all of this stuff, right? And then personal, professional, so whatever you decide to do for your vacation, managerial. And so with this one, as you can see, I was trying to make the endings match. So this is what I came up with. But I believe that we are stewards of everything that we have. And it is important whether sometimes people only talk about their financial goals, but finance is one element of the things that you are responsible for taking care of, right? So yes, finance falls in there. Your property, asset management could fall in there as well. Day-to-day living, right? Like I remember really young. Do you make your bed? Can you take care of your spaces? All of those things. Do you understand that if you don't clean your car, I used to work with Ryan at Detailing Nights, and I remember once cleaning a car, and the dog hair was like this thick. I was like, what? And it's like if you don't even take care or conscious that part of your living and well living is taking care of your day-to-day stuff, right? You can run into a lot of problems there. And then the last one here is philanthropical. I just believe that we should be generous, not only with our time, but our dime and all of the stuff in any way that you can help somebody. Yeah, make it part of your DNA. So that's when it comes to personal. And so business, you can see one of the common ones here, or 2 common ones, I should say, in particular. For Nepical, I believe if you're doing work you don't love, it's not going to be beneficial long term, right? You're just like, I don't know if you've ever had a job that you didn't like and every day you're kind of dragging your foot in. Imagine you're creating a company that you're about to be dragging your foot in. It does not work, right? So consider making sure that what you're doing is something that you love as well, and have fun. So this is where I talk about the M&M, right? Minor and major things. Find a reason to celebrate along the journey, right? Which is really important. Tomorrow is not guaranteed. And so if you miss an opportunity to, praise someone, do something for someone's birthday, like that is not good. So there's opportunity for growth, right? And so the last other common one is around impact and giving. And I truly believe our companies should also be giving and contributing in some way, shape, or form. But if you look at the Show Up Better section, it's about the leadership, right? You think about scandals around companies and stuff, who do they go to first? The leadership. And so if the leadership is not good, if it's not strong, if it's doing well, it all goes to the leadership, right? And so we want to check our leadership. We want to check how our brand's showing up as well. Are we fulfilling our brand promises? And this comes back to the core values that we talked about from the very beginning. Looking at the numbers, so your finance and management of the overall process, right? These things sometimes people see or don't see, right? Depending on what's happening. And then the last section, you could see it's definitely front facing, right? This is what the public sees and interacts with in many ways. The delivery of your services, the sales, marketing, and impact in that way. So just kind of, summarizing or putting it towards the 5 Ds of leadership, which again, simple, but sometimes we're not conscious of it, right? And as leaders, we are steering the ship. So the 5 Ds are: number 1, we have to decide on some key things. Number 2, we have to do some things that sometimes we don't love or we do love, right? And so this is where I share. as solopreneurs, oftentimes we're really good at the implementation of the thing. But the shift that we've made in our own decisions for our life is that, hey, I'm not only just wanting to be good at the thing, I now want to create a business where I'm giving the thing at mass volumes or at volumes for people. So now I know my priority. If, let's say, I'll just use legal services. We're saying legal, you're really good at the thing. The business of legal services is the area I'm sure you've had a lot of personal growth and development. That's why I love to say entrepreneurship is one of the best tools for personal growth and development, because guess what? The business of it, you have to be able to make sales. You have to develop that skill. And we talked about that a little bit ways ago. You have to be marketing. You have to be building team, working with people, and not just employee to employee relationship or boss employee to boss relationship. You are the boss, right? People are needing to report to you. You have to think through those systems, right? So as entrepreneurs in these stages, based on understanding who's in the room, one of the things that we must be doing has of the highest value, as I see it, has to be around client acquisition. If we're not doing that, our businesses will always suffer. As I've said before, we do not have a money problem. We have a conversation problem. Not enough people know about our businesses, hence the reason why we're in these types of cycles oftentimes. And there are multiple factors I understand that could play, but a key space where I see small to medium-sized business struggle a lot is around customer visibility, all of these things, right? So if we figure out how to nail that, we're making some good strides. My friends, we talked about the org chart yesterday, and this is where I'm saying you cannot do everything. And so let's try to figure out, how do we begin to delegate, right? Find people that we can trust and systems that we can trust that can support our growth and benefit us in that way. The last one here, or second to last one, is delay, right? I actually want to change this, and I'm going to change delay to drive, because I understand. And my family and I just did a 23-hour drive from Brampton to Cape Breton. And when you're driving, you know that sometimes you can go 110 or 20, no 30s, okay? 120 miles is all I did. I have a heavy foot, but I try to stay within the speed limit because I've gotten one too many tickets in my life. But that being said, so when you're driving, you can go fast, you can go really slow, you can also stop, you could also, you could slow down, you could find different ways and styles of driving. And one other that I would share is sometimes when construction, Canada has a lot of construction. It gets even worse when you're driving out this way. Lots of one road, one lane type of things. Delays happen, setbacks happen. So we had hoped to be here, I think, within 21 hours. We did it in 23 hours. And part of it, we needed rest, so we stopped, all of these different things as well. But I shared this point, number 4, delay, but drive, really just understanding that along your journey, you may not, I don't want to say will not, you may not go from $0 or $10,000 to $1 million overnight. And sometimes people have that vision, I want to get to $1 million. And going from 0 to 1 million overnight, that sometimes is not sustainable. Guess what? We had to do those 22 hours in order to take in all the slides, to experience all of the things that we learned, the learnings that came out of that. So if we're to do the drive again, we know how to do it and navigate in different ways, right? And so my invitation to all of us for this point in particular, the milestones that you have, just take time to acknowledge those on your journey to the grand vision that you have. It's important to break it down in that way. And then the last one is dump. The truth is, we have a lot of distractions around us, and it is important for us to acknowledge when someone says, hey, I got a good idea for you. Hey, I got some good ideas for you. And you can make a choice. I'm going to jump to that next idea, or you're going to say, you know what? This is not in alignment with my vision. So no, right? This is not in alignment with what I want to do. So no. It is so imperative for us to have that singular focus, right? To say, I am going to accomplish X, whatever X means for you. When we went to the museum today for Alexander Graham Bell, he actually invented the phone at age 22. And he was like relentless. It said he would get up late at night just thinking, I want to solve this phone stuff. I want people to be able to talk on the phone. A singular focus does wonders based on what I'm seeing and I've learned so far. So when it comes to setting goals, we want to act smarter versus not. And what I have here, when you use your power to make possibilities a reality, and it's about doing it smarter. And so some of the reasons why we don't achieve our goals: fear, lack of clarity, and no accountability, right? And I think, we've been going 20 days, the momentum is here, connections are being built. Yes, find a community that you could be accountable to. Let's not try to boil the ocean, a Japanese proverbs. Let's try to really think about our stuff in where we are today. We know where we want to go, but don't try to build all the things at once. And I will end off with just talking a little bit about that. And sometimes fear of success, fear of lack, fear of other things may be reasons why we are not moving the dial. We have to find a way to get over and deal with our fears. And guess what? The fear will show up today. It might show up again tomorrow. But we need to find the courage to act in spite of the fear. So I love what Les Brown talks about goals. He says, your goals are the roadmap that guide you and show you what is possible for your life, right? So we all get these visions. We all have this dream, and it's now about, okay, let me, put pen to paper. The good book says, have a vision, write it, make it plain, write it, right? And being able to communicate it at any time in that way. And having it written, having it mapped out, you're looking at stress reduction, cognitive performance, creative thinking, focus and concentration, and mental clarity being increased in that way. So I think that was an error. Yeah, so I'm just going to end off with The Zone to Win. It is a great book that I would highly encourage all of us to think about, because I know some of the things that book to get and read, but the philosophy in the book is what I wanted us to spend some time thinking about today. So the book talks about 4 zones, right, as strategic leaders. The first one, we all start out as, either experimenting. Hey, I have this vision, I'm gonna test it, all of this stuff. And then we start out in the incubation. Once we say, hey, I'm gonna start working on this business idea, we all have in our journeys a day 0, right? The genesis of our business coming to life in this way. And that stage is incubation. Once we get some momentum, we transition into the transformation zone. And once we're in that transformation zone, many things are happening, right? We want to be able to increase our performance, increase our productivity, lots are happening in terms of, hey, my idea, I'm able to sell one, I'm able to, bring it a little more to scale. And over time, you want to be able to move your business in this optimal performance zone. You could be sleeping, you could be on vacation, you could be sick, you could be away from your business, but guess what? You have an engine that is moving. So I don't know if the question in the chat is for me, but I can pause for a quick second to see if there's any questions. Second. Okay. Yes, a good book. So the performance zone, and I want to start with this one. It is the optimal place we all want to be. We want to have a core offering that when we close our eyes, when we're meaning we're sleeping, and guess what? Somebody's knocking on your business door saying, I need your service. I want to engage with you in some capacity. There is clarity around the business model, right? And you could dive in a little bit more around that. I know it's almost time, so I'm just gonna zip through these very quickly. So the productivity zone, it exists. It is to support the performance zone, right? It is where systems, processes, tools, all of those things are supporting with the overall compliance, right? Some of our businesses and things that we've talked about, business insurance is very important. Getting a tool, I think it's Alexia talking about a centralized CRM or tool to be able to support your business. Yes, and yes. Free tools can only take us so long, for so far, right? And oftentimes free is not scalable. So we want to be able to look at things that ultimately enable us to be more efficient in the work that we're doing or committing to do. I wanted to start to share this one here, which is one of the zone, the incubation zone. And if you're anything like me, I say I used to be someone with the shiny thing syndrome. Oh, I want to try something new. I want to try something new. Every time we try something new in our business, it is very disruptive. It requires a lot more of your time, dedication, your resources in order to get it off the ground, right? It's important to have innovation, incubation zone in that way. However, just understand, if we keep starting something new every month or every other month, it is not sustainable in the long term. We have to set aside a time to commit to seeing that core business being able to stand on its own, to be sustainable. Remember, I shared before, if we are the, how they say, captain, cook, and bottle washer, and if we do not have the ability, time to do all of those roles well, furthermore, starting something new, we're just cutting out, our legs from even being able to be efficient, to be able to scale all of the things that are required in order for us to build a sustainable business. Recall what I shared yesterday. Oftentimes we are the bottlenecks in our business, right? So if we get into that mindset, can my business run without me? And if the answer is yes, you are winning already, right? You may say, I want to hold this key role in my business, and that's okay. But just understand, you cannot do everything by yourself. And so when we think about the incubation zone, and this is why I oftentimes say big companies maintain a research and development arm so that they can tinker, so that they can try different things. But guess what? They're never leaving the core business, right? They have a whole nother group that's working on those things. So my invitation for all of us, just do a pulse check, right? Am I doing something new, or am I committing to a process? And yes, you could be doing both. Just understand the cost associated with both, right? To start something new, oftentimes we're looking for startup capital and all of these things. When you have a product or service that is already in market, and because you keep moving your focus, it's suffering, right? So make a commitment to a singular vision, a core vision that would help you gain momentum in the market. And when you have that momentum, then you make that ability to say, how could I cross-sell or upsell perhaps your same potential customer? Remember what I shared with you. Your next best customer is oftentimes the one you've already sold, right? And so just keep that in mind. And then the transformation zone, understanding that when you move from the incubation zone, you are now kind of building legs around your business model. This is where momentum is happening. And my invitation for all of us is that maybe you're not in that optimal spot just yet. Don't be discouraged. You're on your way, right? But make those commitments to see things through, right? Don't just be a starter like myself. I am now considered a finisher, right? Like that is what the game I'm playing. I want to see things through to the end. And I know if you're like me, sometimes hey, I build this thing, I'm ready to build something new. It's okay. Keep it in your DNA. It's just about timing, right? Not to abandon ship or draw resources from the main thing to support something if the main thing is not yet sustainable. So I will stop sharing there. And see if there's any questions or concerns or thoughts or ideas around the things that have been shared. I know for the sake of time, we're not able to talk fully about the numbers and all of these things. We talked about it briefly. And my invitation to each and every one of us, as you're setting targets, have a financial target as part of the equation. Don't just, I'm on journey to start my business. Okay, for what purpose? To what end, right? And so I just want to say congratulations to everyone who has started. If you're considering to get started, you're in good company. So just begin taking the next steps. Any thoughts, comments, ideas?
Oh, I have a thought, good points and ideas in regards to the presentation that you gave us. And I mean, just for me, ending the year, I did start 2 projects. I want to launch more the natural product stuff. There's a lot of people out there that just need that product naturally to heal than the chemicals that they're selling in the stores. And I really do feel that, focusing heavily on getting people into the zone of give back to community. Community is everything. I mean, I give back to community as much as I can and advocate and do little projects along the line. That's my thing. I'm a community oriented person. Um, on a daily, I'm always working in community for years, especially the youth because they're the next generation. So my next gen youth, they're older Afrocentric youth, and I mean, most of them they need guidance, they need support, they need someone to shadow them whenever they're doing something or getting into construction or whatever it is they deem to. We as the elders, we need to like show them, this is what you need to do. This is how it's done. Because if they can't find a job and they have a skill, then we have to try to kind of like fine tune, craft them, and kind of give them pointers to navigate themselves. Because I'm always going to look at the next generation because that's them. And I try to put back as much energy into that pool as possible. So their world is going to look different than our world is right now. So, they should be prepared and kind of know what to expect when they jump into that. But like your presentation, and those are my little words. And thank you.
Hey, and thank you so much for sharing. And definitely, and I know everybody that have shared over these past couple days, your heart is for community, right? That's never in question. And I love that it's baked into a lot of things that you're doing, right? And I might have shared before, based on some of, how funding and things are happening in the world that we're seeing right now, is that governments want to support more social enterprise or purpose-driven businesses. So if you can include impact into your business model, you're heading in the right direction, right? The social finance that's supposed to be coming, there is a lot of money that is structured to help businesses in that type of sustainable way, right? If you're looking at impact plus your own financial ability to generate your own revenue, you're heading in the right direction. And so I love what you shared. Thank you so much. And yes, our next generation, the people that we need to be investing in, yeah, it is a thought to be considered and acted upon. Any other takeaways, thoughts before we end our time together? I just want to say thank you to everyone that is here with us. Tomorrow we will be meeting again. Ryan is scheduled to do the financial statement, income statement, which we are going to go through tomorrow. And yeah, I just want to say thank you so much.
Thank you so much for taking the time out to share all this valuable information and knowledge with us. I really, really appreciate it.
Awesome. Hey, wonderful. Thank you so much. And we will see you